All right, it's Game Time with Sam. That's the name of the segment today. First, I'm a big fan of the Uncharted game series. I've played through Uncharted 2, and it blew me away. I don't play many like console video games, but I did that one, and I loved it. I just started Uncharted 3 on the PS3, and you got to spend some time, at least a small amount of time, with Uncharted 4. Very anticipated game. What did you think?
Wow, I guess I should be very careful about spoiling anything. You have a whole, game and a half to catch up, give or take. Uncharted 4 is interesting because it's been delayed, and it's sort of one of these giant Sony tentpoles that people who bought a PlayStation 4 instead of an Xbox One have been looking forward to, because these systems have so many games in common. So Uncharted 4 is finally our chance to see a game like a series with such a giant world, such adventurous stuff, such Indiana Jones caliber modern swashbuckling, as it were, take place on a really good system. And we're looking right now, this is actually me playing. This wasn't a canned footage. They let me record myself playing a game that they're calling wide linear. The idea being that these Uncharted games tell a pretty linear story. They're trying to be cinematic. They're not letting you make a bunch of choices like you would in, say, Grand Theft Auto. You're going to save the day, give or take. You're going to get into some hairy spots. So how can you do that and have stories sort of play out in a long mission? For example, this one where you're riding around in Madagascar, but still feel like you have some control, like you have some chance to go somewhere big and huge. The solution that Naughty Dog has come up with is what they're calling wide linear, which is essentially a way to give you a car and go through these giant environments. So you're essentially doing the same thing you would have done on foot on PlayStation 3. So they're just broadening the worlds, giving you more places to go in a faster way and cooler way to do so. And rocking around in that 4x4 was fun. Mucking around in the mud of this demo was really fun. And that was one half of the experience, was getting to watch the hero Nathan Drake chatting with Sully and with Nathan Drake's brother Sam. Good name for a brother, by the way. As they were talking about trying to recover pirate treasure before some bad guys did. So there's that one half of it. The other half is that Naughty Dog, you may remember, did a game called The Last of Us. That was their last game on PlayStation 3, which was similar in art style and control to Uncharted, but much darker, a lot more stealth stuff, a lot more brutal about surviving an apocalypse. Well, that wasn't necessarily going to become an Uncharted way to play, but they did adapt more of the stealth stuff, meaning sneaking around, taking out giant squads of bad guys. That's a possibility now in Uncharted. I got to try out one battle in the game, which we have a little bit of video of, where I hid around in some grass. I was able to check out with a stealth scope some bad guys in the distance and mark them so I could keep a track on them, some stealth takedowns, coordinating with my buddies for the big fight. A lot of different ways to get into a big battle between being explosive with guns blazing and being sneaky and crafty. It felt very good. It felt like a really interesting melding of the old familiar Uncharted and that more dangerous, more intense Last of Us play. So the only really question mark that we have at this point is what's the actual story going to be like? Uncharted 4 has been a little bit beleaguered, not only for delays, but also because some of the voice talent quit and made some public statements saying they quit because they didn't like the direction of the script. And our demo had absolutely no script, no story beyond some interstitial jibber-jabber between these three heroes on this 4x4. So we don't really have a perspective of what the script is like, what it is that made some people like Alan Tudyk of Firefly fame, quit the project. So we're hoping that whatever that was resolved and changed. But this is the quote-unquote final Nathan Drake game. This is him coming back to the job 20 years later, and it's supposedly the final Uncharted, the closure of the series. I never really believed that sort of thing, but I do imagine there will be some big, shocking things to come, but I have no idea what they are. But at the very least, the little bit I got to play driving around, shooting around, stealthing around was exactly what I was hoping for, and I think that you, as a fan of the series, will have at least something good to look forward to.
Yeah, the driving around aspect looked really satisfying. I was also really kind of impressed how when when Nathan Drake walks away from the car and is exploring, the conversation back at the car is kind of happening. And I'm sure if you kind of tuned into that conversation versus paying attention to what you're exploring, there's some, hints or whatever that kind of appear there, whatever. I just thought it was, from an audio perspective, because I'm an audio nerd, I appreciated how they handled that, because it
there's a lot of that. they're really good at including these sort of extra optional kinds of stories that flesh out characters. They're very smart about that. It's a very nice thing. So I'm hoping the story that is told in those scenes is quite good. But we'll find that out in May of this year.
Excellent. May 10th, it appears, is the launch on that.